Ladies and gentlemen, football fans from the city of brotherly love to every corner of this great nation. Can you feel it? That electric hum in the air. The kind that starts in your chest and radiates out like a Jalen Hurts deep ball to A.J. Brown? It's November in the NFL. The leaves are turning, the air is crisp, and the trade deadline just slammed shut like the gates of Lincoln Financial Field on game day. But oh, what a whirlwind it was. Teams scrambling, GMs wheeling, and dealing like Howie Roseman at a yard sale. And right in the heart of it all, your Philadelphia Eagles, stacking the deck for another Super Bowl run. Welcome to the show, Eagles Nation. I'm your host, diving deep into the madness that was the 2025 NFL trade deadline. Buckle up, because we're talking trades, rumors, heroes, and why the birds are flying higher than ever. Fly, Eagles, fly. Let's kick this off with a bang, because if there's one thing the deadline delivered, it's drama. And the Eagles were front and center. Picture this. It's Tuesday, November 4th. 4 p.m. Eastern Time, the clock's ticking like a 2-minute drill, and Howie Roseman, that wizard in a polo shirt, pulls off not one, not two, but 3 blockbuster moves to fortify this roster. First up, they snag cornerback Jair Alexander from the Baltimore Ravens for a measly 2026 sixth-round pick and cough up a 2027 seventh in return. Alexander, folks, that's the guy who locked down receivers like a vault door back in Green Bay. A former All-Pro who's got the speed, the ball skills, and that fire we love in Philly. He steps in opposite Quinyon Mitchell, and suddenly our secondary looks like a fortress. Then, boom! Michael Carter 2 slides over from the New York Jets, adding that slot corner versatility we've been craving since Darius Slay's prime. And the cherry on top, edge rusher Jalen Phillips from the sinking Dolphins ship. Shipped to Philly for a 2026 third-rounder. Phillips, at just 26, is a beast. 3 sacks already this year. A history with our DC Vic Fangio from Miami days. And the kind of motor that could replace the void left by Josh Sweat bolting in free agency. What an unbelievable haul. Roseman didn't just patch holes. He built a dam. But hold on. Before we pop the champagne, let's rewind to the whispers that have Birds fans clutching their green jerseys like life rafts. A.J. Brown, our captain, our touchdown machine, our absolute warrior. His name was swirling in trade rumors like a bad dream after that cryptic social media post during the bye week. Was it frustration from a slow start with hamstring tweaks? The offense sputtering at times? Or just the rumor mill grinding gears? Reports had teams like the Bengals and Chiefs sniffing around, dangling picks and prospects. ESPN wouldn't shut up about it. Heck, even I caught myself pacing the studio, yelling at the TV, "Not our AJ." But here's the truth bomb. Brown shut it down himself post-deadline, saying, "My focus was to be present with my family, my kids, and get healthy. I want to be an Eagle and a story." And Roseman, he laughed it off in his presser. When you're trying to be a great team, it's hard to trade great players. AJ is a great player. He wears the C for a reason. Loyalty in Philly? That's rarer than a quiet tailgate, but it's real. Brown stays, and with Devonta Smith already lighting it up, that duo's primed to terrorize secondaries. Imagine Hurts slinging it to them in the red zone. Pure poetry. Now let's zoom out, because this deadline wasn't just Eagles drama. It was a league-wide fire sale that had sellers dumping talent like hot potatoes. That original list from Sam Robinson? Spot on, it nailed the chaos. Take the Commanders. Nick Allegretti and Andrew Wiley, those ex-Chiefs linemen, got demoted and dangled like surplus gear. Washington's 1-7, rebuilding around a young QB. But teams like the Eagles could have scooped him for depth. Glad we didn't, with our O-line humming like a well-oiled tush-push. Then Baltimore, teetering at 1-5, floated Mark Andrews, that 3-time Pro Bowl tight end, who's averaging a career-low 8.3 yards per catch. Injuries hit the Ravens hard, but Andrews and signed past 25. A contender like us could have paired him with Dallas Goedert for a nightmare matchup. Didn't happen. Ravens held, but it shows how thin the ice is for pretenders. Shift to Cleveland. Joe Bitonio and Wyatt Teller, those grizzled guards in contract years, were pure rentals begging for a contender's check. Bitonio's 34, a 7-time Pro Bowler. Teller's turning 31 with 3 nods. The Browns, stuck in rebuild mode after that Deshaun Watson fiasco, $10 million in dead cap to potentially cash out. Imagine them anchoring our line next to Lane Johnson. Talk about trench warfare. But nah, Philly pass. Our interior's solid with Cam Jurgens stepping up big. And Miami? Oh man, the Dolphins went full garage sale. Bradley Chubb and Jalen Phillips both on the block. Injury histories be damned. We grabbed Phillips, smart money. But Chubb, with 4 sacks already, stayed put. Miami's 1-6. HC Mike McDaniel on the hot seat. Ownership might force more moves. It's like watching a rival implode. Delicious, especially with our NFC East beef brewing. Speaking of stars on the move, Las Vegas's Max Crosby had the league salivating. A 28-year-old edge monster who could have fetched the first and day 2 picks. Raiders hired Pete Carroll, flipped to Geno Smith at QB. But they're sputtering worse than a 90s carburetor. Tom Brady's involved now. Would he greenlight trading his boy? Didn't happen. But if the Eagles phase him late, Phillips versus Crosby? Chef's kiss. New Orleans dangled vets like Demario Davis and Cam Jordan. 36-year-old sack kings from the Breeze era. Jordan's the Saints' all-time sack leader, a potential Hall of Famer. A day 3 pick for rotational rush? Tempting for depth behind Brandon Graham, our eternal captain who's unretired and roaring. But Philly's philosophy? Build for now, not scraps. And don't get me started on the Jets. Breece Hall and Jermaine Johnson. Contract year gems on a winless squad. Hall's a second-round steal, reestablishing as their bell cow. But New York's eyeing drafts over deals. They ship Carter to us instead, win-win, as Philly gets slot help and Jets stockpile picks. Bengals held firm on Trey Hendrickson, despite his all-pro shine and extension standoff. No surprise, since he's stingy with trades. But whispers had us circling him early. Vic Fangio scheming with that duo. The NFC East would have trembled. Tennessee's fire sale screamed desperation. Draymond Jones and Arden Key as stopgaps with Jeffrey Simmons. The 2-time All-Pro DT, drawing top-dollar interest. Titans flipped GMs twice since 22. They're tanking for 26. We eyed Jones for Fangio reunion. Versatile inside-outside guy, but settled on Phillips. Smart pivot. Saints' Alvin Kamara threatened retirement to block a deal. Dual threat RB at 30, still versatile. But New Orleans needs him with Kendre Miller sidelined. Wouldn't have fit our Saquon Barkley-led backfield anyway. Barkley's already at 150-yard games, terrorizing his old Giants squad 38-20 in Kelly Green glory. Raiders' Jacoby Myers wanted out, 1,000-yard guy on a cheap deal, turning 29. Giants' Evan Neal, the busted number 7 pick, bubble-wrapped and expendable. Browns' David Njoku, inconsistent but cheap at vet minimum. Saints' Chris Olave and Rashid Shaheed. Ohio State speed demons. Olave's extension bait. Shaheed's deep threat on pace for a career year. Titans held Simmons, but Ravens' Kyle Van Noy, a 34-year-old Super Bowl vet, got shopped. Dolphins' Jalen Waddle. Tyreek less number 1, extended but lucrative. Jets' Williams brothers. Quinnen's locked. Quincy's free agent bait. Bengals' Logan Wilson requested out. Roll shrunk. Giants' Russell Wilson, 37 and benched. Easy salary dump. Seahawks' Rick Woolen. Scheme mismatch in contract year. Phew, that's the ledger. A 27-trade frenzy. Most in 25 years. But through it all, the Eagles emerged kings. A dress pass rush, 16 sacks, bottom 10. Secondary woes, 18th in pass yards allowed. Without gutting the future. Roseman's post-deadline presser, gold. On chasing Myles Garrett or Micah Parsons rumors. Are you trying to get me fined? To get to the top, you gotta take chances that look controversial. I won't live with regret. Classic Howie, aggressive, unapologetic. Now, let's break it down, Eagle style, tactical analysis, because this ain't just moves, it's chess. Phillips slots in as our Ellie opposite Graham, boosting that Fangio 3-4 twist where edges loop inside. Expect 10-plus sacks from Malone, per PFF projections. Alexander and Carter, they thicken the plot behind Mitchell and DeJohn. Zone-heavy scheme gets ball-hawking corners who tackle like linebackers. Injuries? Nolan Smith's opening his IR window soon. Second-year edge with untapped burst. Combine that with Bryce Huff's flashes, and our D-line rotates fresh, wearing down O-lines like we did the Vikings' 5-2 win. Offensively, Hurts is cooking. 4 TDs versus Giants. Barkley gashing for 174 yards and 2 scores. Brown's return post by. He's our X factor. That 6 feet 1 inch frame mossing safeties. Remember his 23 playoff TD versus Tampa? Vintage. With Smith stretching fields, Goddard in the seam. It's a symphony. Coaching? Nick Sirianni's self-scout during by emphasize identity. Run heavy. Protect the ball. Kellen Moore's play calling adds wrinkles. No more vanilla. Stats don't lie, folks. Eagles at 6-2, number 2 NFC seed atop the East. Compared 24. We started 10-1 but faded. This year's deal allows 20.5 points, top 10. Those scores 28.3 elite. Rival Cowboys traded for Quinnen Williams, beefing their front. But we're 1-0 on them. Hurts out-dueling Dak. Giants? We own them 38-20 revenge tour. Commanders rebuilding, no threat. NFC? Packers loom week 10 at Lambeau, Monday night, prime time. But with Phillips rushing Jordan Love, we steal it 27-24. Historical lens? This Eagles dynasty echoes the 17 miracle. Foles the moon, but built on grit like Reggie White's Minister of Defense sacks or Brian Dawkins' helmet-to-helmet hits. Donovan McNabb scrambles? Hurts evolution. Jason Kelsey's retirement stung, but Lane Johnson's anchoring. Fletcher Cox's shadow looms in our culture. Trivia time. Did you know Eagles Fly debuted in 83 but exploded post-17 Super Bowl? Chanted from pubs to the Rocky Steps. It's our war cry. Rivalries? Cowboys hate runs deep. Jerry Jones versus Lurie. Star versus substance. Giants? Barkley's payback poem. Even pop culture nods. Brown in that Eagles Mafia skit on SNL? Hilarious. Or Hurts nil deals tying to Philly's underdog vibe. Like Rocky Balboa, we rise. Expert takes? Fictional scout Mike from Manayunk says, Philly's a deadline winner. Added youth speed, no cap killers. Playoffs? Divisional lock, NFC champ rematch with Lions. Fan quote, imagine tailgate Big Tony from South Philly. Howie traded for killers while keeping it J? That's why we bleed green, loyalty over loot. Coach Sirianni post by. These ads? Game changers. We're hunting rings, not headlines. Predictions? Eagles finished 12-5. Snagged the number 1 seed. Phillips, 9 sacks. Brown, 1,200 yards, 10 TDs. Playoffs? Crush Washington wildcard. Edge Detroit divisional. Outgun Skins rematch. Wait, NFC champ versus Packers. Then Super Bowl 59 in New Orleans? We hoist it, avenging 17 Hurts. Long term, draft haul intact for 26. Maybe a Hurts extension seals the decade. Eagles Nation, this deadline wasn't just business. It was brotherhood, from the passion at the link, where 70,000 chant till hoarse. To your living rooms, we're in this together. Tune in Monday for Packers. Watch Hurts scramble, Brown burn, Phillips feast. Follow for updates, because a flying never stops. This is your Eagles, unbreakable, unrelenting. Go, Birds.